So, it's funny because in many ways the three of you women are running against a woman who's not in the room, and that's the incumbent governor. And maybe this is a question more for you, because I have a feeling it's easier for the two of them to answer. Why is Kate Brown the least popular governor in America?
I think she's been absent on the issues that matter to Oregonians. We need decisive leadership right now, and the biggest issues facing our state, which we have talked about, housing, homelessness, and mental health and addiction, have not been her thing. On things that she has actually engaged on, let's talk about the private timber accord. She was all in on that. It was successful, frankly, a signature piece of achievement in her administration. But those other things that people care about, not a priority. And I think people are responding to that. They're responding to the fact that under her leadership, the executive agencies haven't functioned well. That was very apparent and magnified in the pandemic. And again, it's one of the reasons I'm running. The executive side of government has to work. And it needs leadership, it needs management.
Same question for you, Representative Drazan. Why is Governor Brown so unpopular?
She is unpopular because she didn't have the benefit of being required to temper her own party. She had leadership in the legislature that didn't hold her to account because they were in the same party. She had overwhelming majorities. And so the ability to serve more Oregonians and come to the middle, which would have in fact made her more likable, would have made people more grateful for her leadership. She was never required to do that, and therefore she did not. But I would also just like to say, Kate Brown has a lot of failings, but she was never dishonest with me. She was always honest. And I cannot say the same thing for Tina Kotek. And so while they are of the same party, if Tina is stepping in and saying Kate did all these things wrong and she was absent, okay, she might have been absent because she took everything for granted, because Democrats always win in Oregon. But she was always honest, and Tina Kotek was not.
And you're specifically talking about the redistricting issue, or?
Yeah, in my experience. But I can tell you that even among her own party, the way she treated Janelle Bynum, the list is not exclusive to a highly partisan, highly charged redistricting issue. We're talking about a central character flaw when the issue becomes, it's just a political decision, ethics get thrown out the window. And that was not Kate Brown. She was not a strong leader. She responded when she should have responded with information and respect for Oregonians. That was Kate. And she had too much power, and she didn't have enough people holding her to account and frankly elevating expectations of her. She never had that from the legislature or her own party. But that's very different than a central character flaw that Tina Kotek happens to have.
Want to respond to that?
Etsy?
What?
Oh, no, I think hang on. I think you're going to call it dishonest.
I mean, Representative Drazan is entitled to her opinion. I would say you don't stay Speaker of the Oregon House for 9 years if you can't live by your word. And I can give you plenty of examples of I've fought tooth and nail for things over the years because I made a promise. If we want to talk about what happened around redistricting, we can definitely do that. But I pride myself on working hard, being honest, and doing the best thing I can every single day. So, yeah, I take offense to that, but she's entitled to her opinion.
Okay, so Senator Johnson, you worked alongside Senator Brown when she was a senator, and you've known her forever. Why is she the least popular governor in this country?
Well, you just took my opening. I've known Kate for a long time. I think when she became governor, it was sort of the example of dog catches car. You've got what you want, now you've got to execute. And I just don't think she knew how to make executive decisions. That was nowhere more obvious, the lack of decisive leadership than at the commencement of the pandemic. I remember vividly the first press availability. That was not anything that any public affairs guy would give high marks to. Nice lady, but highly partisan, secretive, contradictory, put politics front and center in her office. The fact that SEIU is embedded in that office and she takes her cues there. I've noticed a certain retaliatory bent in her. I don't think she likes the nitty-gritty, day-to-day, immersed in the budget conversations that we had as my last full session was concluding. She just sort of came in with an arbitrary list and said, I want this stuff. She threatened other people's. I just don't think, even though she's a nice lady and you'd probably like to sit down and have a drink with her, I just don't think that she has executive mettle to run a multi-billion-dollar organization absent the pernicious and overbearing influence of SEIU and other partisans.